Okay, I'll call to order the committee of the whole to discuss 1522 East 289th Street rezoning. I guess we'll start out first with Pete, our engineer, showing everybody the rezoning maps, the zoning maps he has. Pete, do you have any kind of background on it as well, like when or any other information you can provide outside of just showing the maps?
Yes, I do. I have the old map from the last update was from 1979, and it's so bad that, well, not bad, but I just made a colored representation of it right here. This is the way it was set up in 1979. The last update. This area here where Ganley is and the Stamey property and Ganley's extra parking lot. This was all general business, and this is from the 79 map. The Lawson's building and A&P was all general business. And then between that, this from Euclid Avenue going back 400 feet was all office. No, I take that back, 250 feet. This is all office building. And then behind it, all this purple area was zoned parking. That's the way it was represented on the last updated 1979 map that I have. When we did the Euclid Avenue study and did the rezoning, basically it changed that this area here from the office building and parking. This parking areas became R150, and then this frontage, this first 250 feet off the right of way became general business. And then it didn't change with the newest update. So this is our current map, current zone map, which is colored in GIS and everything else. And you can see that that's the way it's set up. That's the way what it is.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
One more thing to share. This is the newest installation, the newest bus charger in the city of Wickliffe. The first one, there's another one behind it. This is at the Lake Tran facility where buses will be coming in, and this red thing up here will come down and electrify the buses while people are sitting in them.
Okay, well, can you show that at next week's meeting as well?
I certainly will.
Thank you, sir.
Get out of sharing now. Somehow. Oh, there it is.
So basically, to summarize, a lot of stuff was rezoned or in that area except for this location, this house.
No, that from Euclid Avenue up to that house, it was previously zoned office building.
Yeah.
When we did the 2003 Euclid Avenue corridor update, they changed that from office building. They eliminated office building and just called it general business.
But never was it
Yeah.
residential. Right?
Pardon?
It was never zoned residential though.
No, no.
Right.
Okay. No, I know we all heard Ms. Middlesex speak at the last Monday. Does anybody want to, share their opinions or what they want to discuss on for the rest of this, or make an opinion, or let it fly?
What do you mean let it, oh,
Go ahead, Randy.
what do you mean let it slide? What do you,
I said let it fly, not let it slide.
oh,
Any opinions, let them fly.
okay. Well, if we're not gonna, if she's not gonna get the signatures, she's at least got to go back and fall back to the ordinance on the zoning change, which is at 1341, correct? If the council's gonna initiate the change,
I think that's what we're discussing tonight.
okay,
But whether her three options are to get the signature, or their three options, and say just hers, but is to either get the signatures, it go to planning commission, or council has to make that recommendation. So there's three different options.
Mr. Council President,
Go ahead, Mr. Zealy.
if this maybe clarifies for Councilperson Hardstein, yeah, either way, Planning Commission or Council, it does revert back to that ordinance. You are correct about that. It's still subject to that. The only way it wouldn't be subject to that is if it's through petition, through signatures.
Go ahead, Joe.
So when this process first started, when the owners, I know Josie and Bruno, I forget the last name, but when this process first started, shouldn't they, it should have immediately went to planning commission before us, because now what has to happen is it goes back to planning commission, and then planning commission rules on from there what it goes back to us then, right? It's kind of like, that's kind of the process. If we were to rule that way, go to planning, and then, whether they hold they can opt not to hold the public meeting, but if it comes back to council, then a public meeting has to happen, right? 30-day notice. We were talking a lot about it today, me and Ms. Drake and Mr. Gehardstein, about kind of the process of how this is going to work if council is going to, recommend, to go that route and not go to the signature route. Right?
Once again, Councilperson Sakis, that is correct.
Maria.
So, first of all, I mean, I understand how frustrating this must be for them. I know that I would be frustrated, but at the same time, this is setting a precedent, I think, and, they could go get the signatures right now. I mean, the way it works is a zoning change requires the public to vote on it. So they would have to get the signatures to put it on the ballot. And it sets a precedent if we step in and make it easier, because again, this wasn't necessarily, the city's mistake. I mean, this wasn't our mistake at all. And the fact that, they would like to utilize this property differently than it is zoned, again, is not, something that the city brought on. So, I mean, we keep comparing it to the Sweetberry thing. I mean, that really was a mistake. And I don't think that we need to make this the same situation. And in that case, I really think it's not a bad idea for us to just go along with how things are done. I mean, I think, I don't know if we want to get in the middle of this. And that's just, something tells me we shouldn't. But again, I'll listen to what everybody else has to say. I mean, if everybody else has got a different viewpoint, I'd love to hear about it.
I guess I got a question for both Scott and Ray. If we recommend the Middlesex to go to the planning commission, and we know they have a hearing or a meeting on May 6th already to discuss referendum zoning itself. Could we include this in that meeting as well and set up is it too late to put it in that meeting for them to discuss this and then give their recommendation at that meeting to council? Is it too late? Or can they get on that meeting? Because it's 18 days away, 17 days away.
The cutoff date for applications for the planning commission is 4 weeks prior. So they would have to wait till the following month to go to planning commission for informational guidance.
So the timing would be, so their better bet is to get the signatures, because that would not even if it went back to planning commission, that it would be with the 30 days and everything and the 3 readings of council, they might be past the cutoff. Because isn't it July 16th? It's got to be in.
Something like that.
So that's what, yeah, that's got to be factored in as well.
Mr. Council President, I concur with Maria on this. I think it's a situation where that property has been used for commercial applications. The previous owner was using it as part of their, from what I understand, the winemaking process. Ray, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Correct.
You know, to me, it had been zoned that way before. And based on the current laws, you know, I would think that they, like other companies and businesses that have wanted to change zoning, would need to get the signatures and go get the signatures and get it on the ballot. I don't think it's right for the city to be stepping in. This is not a mistake by the city. It had been zoned that way for before I was born.
Yeah, and I agree, and I concur too. I just wish this would have came up or we discussed earlier that they could have got on the planning commission and it would come down to the deadline. But at this point in time, they're going to need to use the signatures. Probably, I agree. I don't believe this is a precedent we want to set, especially if we don't pass, if referendum zoning doesn't pass through council to get on the election, and let alone doesn't get passed by the electors.
Right, right.
So any other opinions, or go ahead, Randy?
What, isn't that what the ordinance is for? Is if council decides that we want to initiate a zoning change and through council, that's why the ordinance is there to begin with, that we can initiate a zoning change.
That is my understanding. It's a protection for the residents and the city itself.
So I'd be okay with if we went through the ordinance, not requiring the signatures. That's just my opinion. If count that, like you said, everybody's putting their own opinion in it. My opinion would be if that's what the ordinance is for, if we want to use the ordinance and initiate it and skip the signature process. A lot of the people that are supporting referendum zoning, this is what our problems were with zoning, that it takes a little bit extra time. And that's what the ordinance is for. So
I agree, though. So if we did that process, though, Randy, the problem is if we wouldn't, planning commission wouldn't meet until June on this, and then we'd still have to have 3 readings after that.
Right.
I'm not saying that if they want to wait for the time for this process, or if they want to get signatures, I understand that. That's
Gotcha.
It's going to be up to the resident wants to change the zoning. So if they want to try this part and see if the commission approves it, if the commission doesn't approve it, then they're going to have to get the signatures anyhow, right? To get it on the ballot. If the planning commission, if she sees the planning commission and they deny it, the only way she'd have a choice is just get the signatures, right? So it's
Correct.
up to her. She wants to try this way and maybe pass the deadline, or try it on herself and get signatures and make the deadline, right?
I think that is correct.
Is that right, Mr. Zealy, sir?
Yes, that's correct. And I think what Mr. Council President Levon keeps going back to, with the requirement of it going through public planning commission and potentially them having a public hearing, which is generally their practice, and then have to go back to council, and then council would have to hold a public hearing on it as well too. Timing wise, I haven't worked out the exact dates, but just based off of Ray saying that it would have to go in the first opportunity would be June Planning Commission. I think they would wouldn't even come close to meeting the deadline to get on the ballot in November. So they could go that route, but it probably would have to wait till the next election, not this year, but the following year.
And I understand that. I'm just saying if that's the way she could choose either way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sure.
That's all I was trying to say.
Right, so us tonight, the recommendation would give her the, if the majority recommends she gets that choice, or, is that where we're at, Ed, or we recommend?
Well, I guess it's either, I'm not sure we have to recommend anything. I think the option, there's three options, I guess. And if we say that, if we all kind of agree that we don't want to, as council doesn't really want to set that precedent or start it or initiate it ourselves, then she can initiate it with the planning commission and see where that gets her. It may not meet the November ballot. It may meet a March or something kind of primary or a special election, if that's the case, or they can go get the signatures from the residents by July 15th, based on a thing. So from what I'm hearing from most of you, that really not sure that we want council to initiate it, but that the residents should either go through planning commission, initiate through planning commission, or get the votes or get the signatures. But I could be misinterpreting that if anybody disagrees with that. Maria.
So even if we did initiate it, the timing is still gonna not work, right, for them?
According to the ordinances, yes. And the schedule that Ray had just stated that there's a 4-week lead time before it gets on the planning commission, or 4 weeks before their meeting.
So, and in conjunction with the fact that I don't think we should put ourselves in the position where we're aiding things like this, because, this is one thing, and, that could start a whole cascade of other people that want to do the same thing, and even if we did, it wouldn't really help this particular resident that much, or wouldn't accelerate the timing. So I think, at this point, it's a moot point for us to get involved. And then she's left them with two choices. She can go the planning commission way, or she can get the signatures. And if she goes the planning commission way, it would be the same time. And then if we recommended it and went the planning commission way too. So it's the same thing. And I think we can just step out of this at this point.
So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'd like to add, I think that this is nothing of our fault or doing. There is a process, and the two processes, what has been explained. She goes to the zoning commission, or she gets the signatures. I recommend we don't get involved. Because this could be a troublesome thing for us.
Okay, so just to summarize and understand, basically, correct me if I'm wrong, the committee recommends that she either go to the planning commission, go to the building department and work with the planning commission to be on their next hearing in June, or she attains these signatures through the Board of Elections. Is there any disagreement to that as the recommendation out of this meeting? Okay, then the committee will recommend that the Middlesex either go to the planning commission to see if they can get that approved, or they ask residents to, for enough signatures to get on the November ballot through the Board of Elections. Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 7:18. Thank you. See you guys next Monday.
All right, take care.